Hello, and welcome back. This is going to be a little bit of a different episode from a technical standpoint. When I originally recorded this episode, for whatever reason, it didn't pick up the camera, or not camera, the microphone audio. So I have all the game sounds and music and stuff, but I didn't get any of my voice captured. So what I'm doing is I'm rewatching the footage, and I'm going to be reacting to the content as it happens on the screen. And I'm going to try and remember the things that I said in when I originally recorded it, and I'll probably add some additional insights that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. And I am obviously recording my webcam and superimposing it over the usual spot on the footage. So just bear with me. I'm going to try and make sure in the future that I do a sound check before I start recording to avoid the situation. But I think it'll be fine for this episode at least, to just do it this way and try and fix it in post, as they say. So anyway, last time we started exploring the Ocean Temple and we killed one of the Elder Guardians. As it turns out, there is supposedly two more Elder Guardians that need to be taken out before we stop getting that debuff. So we're going to continue exploring. As you can see, I've got a bunch of glass ready to go, and I was doing some fishing while I was waiting for things to cook. So I'm going to go and empty my extra items out of the inventory that I don't need for this trip, and then we will head on over to the underwater temple. As you can see, I made some extra furnaces, and I've got one with me that I'm going to bring, just so that I can use it while I'm there, because I discovered that if you put the wet sponge into a furnace, it dries it out. So I'm thinking if I bring a furnace and some fuel like coal and birch planks, I can use that to dry out the sponge, and hopefully that's a lot faster for removing the water rather than placing painstakingly brick by brick, um, or block by block rather, with something else. And I'm bringing this glass because I know that glass breaks super easy, and I have an axe now with efficiency 5 on it and silk touch, so I can break the glass and get it back. And I'm hoping that because it breaks so easy that it won't be as horrible to work with as the sand has been. Plus, I'll be able to see my surroundings a little better. So now we're all rested up. We're gonna go get back on our rowboat after we say hi to the dog. Hey, doggy. Oh, we should probably figure out what we're gonna name the dog. So in the comments, please give me suggestions on what you would like to name our dog. Um, and we'll get a poll going. As you can see, the cherry blossom tree that I planted grew up, and I really like the shape that it took. I think that is exactly what I was hoping for, in that space. And you can also see that my farm, my crops are all fully grown, but I'm just a little too excited to get progress made on clearing out this temple. So I'll have to come back and do all the agriculture stuff later. I've got enough food and things like that to sustain me for now, so I'm not in dire need of any of the crops. So you can see our platform just ahead. As we get close, you'll see that Elder Guardian pop up and debuff us, as it does. And there it is. And so here we are. We're going to hop on out, and we're going to get to work. One thing that I wanted to say is we came in through the roof here, and I have no idea how big this temple, or I think it's actually called a ocean monument, but I have no idea how big it really is. So those other two Elder Guardians, they could be, the next floor down, or they could be, several chambers away. And something that you'll notice as we're doing this is, or actually you won't notice because my camera covers up the subtitles, it looks like. Maybe I need to move my camera. But I don't hear any Elder Guardian sounds show up in the subtitles at any point. I do hear a Guardian, and I actually, spoiler alert, we come across a Guardian at one point. But no Elder Guardians, so I don't know if it's just that they are really, really far away, or if you just can't hear them unless you're super close. I'm hoping it's the latter, because if we're really, really far away, this is incredibly tedious. Yeah, as you can see here, I'm I'm discovering that the mining fatigue also affects the glass in much the same way as everything else. So while I was hoping that the glass, by virtue of being so much more fragile, would break easier and not take as long, that is not the case. In fact, it takes longer than the sand, I think, but it has the benefit that I can see around it, and also I already have it because I cooked up all the sand that I had before to make the glass. So we're going to be stuck with it, at least for now. I might, off camera before the next episode, go get some more sand, just because it is faster to break, not by a whole lot, but enough. But I don't know, we'll see. So here is where I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to use the sponge, because I have an idea of how I think it works, and it turns out that my idea is correct, where basically you set the sponge and it sucks in all of the water source blocks within a certain range. And I'm not quite sure exactly what that range is. But also, yeah, at this point I haven't thought to try the sponge yet. Or maybe I'm just trying to limit my working area a little bit. And I accidentally put a block there right in front of me where I just cleared one out. So now I gotta kind of duck and aim underneath while the water is pushing me back. But I'm going to set all of this up, and it's still it's still open on the right there up above. So it's going to eliminate some of the water. Yeah, you can see it eliminated some of the water up above where the glass blocks are, because it was open to the right of it. So yeah, we're going to break this glass, and then we're going to start just using the sponge. And basically the way it works is you set the sponge down and it soaks up the water around it, and then you have to go dry it out. And unfortunately, breaking the sponge takes as long, if not longer, than these glass blocks do. I don't really know what the best tool is to break the sponge with. I kind of just keep using this axe because it has efficiency 5 and silk touch, and I invested, you know, enchanting and other resources to create it. So I want to get my full use out of it, I guess. But we're gonna be this episode's basically going to be a lot of rinse and repeat of using the sponge, drying it out, and then using it again. So you'll see here shortly I'm going to set up a furnace. So yeah, once I get that furnace set up, it's just going to be running back and forth. I think I'm actually going to start speeding up the footage at this point, because as you'll see, it's pretty monotonous. In fact, I might just speed it up and put some music to it, because there's really not a whole lot to explain other than I'm just slowly and carefully exploring. through this temple and clearing the water out. You'll see now just how long this sponge takes. I'll wait till I'm done with the sponge the first time, breaking it, just so you can see how long it is, and then I'll speed up the footage at that point. But I don't really have a whole lot else to say, at least until we come across that guardian I mentioned. So once this sponge breaks in about 20 minutes, slight exaggeration, I'll speed it up until we reach that guardian, and then I'll chime back in. So you're going to be seeing pretty much just the raw footage from here until then. So there's going to be a lot of probably outfit changes because I'm recording these voiceovers at different days than when I originally recorded, and even the voiceover sections themselves are recorded across a couple of different days because my schedule's been a little hectic. So ignore the continuity errors of my wardrobe and the light coming through my window back here. So, anywho, this sponge is finally almost broken. It seriously takes forever, and I do this over and over and over because I don't really have a better option, because the glass blocks only clear up one block of water, whereas this soaks up like a 3x3 area, I think, more or less. So even though it takes forever, the glass also takes forever, so overall it's less time, but it still doesn't feel like it's less time. But anyway, you can see I'm getting ready to set my furnace up. I'm trying to decide where I want to put it. I originally think about putting it right there underneath the stairs, but then I think I don't want to necessarily have to climb all the way back up here, and then I accidentally drop off into the water here and have to figure out how to bring myself back up. Fortunately, there were no enemies in that chamber below me, so could have been a lot worse. But yeah, I just kind of put some blocks down, get myself back out of danger, and then I'm going to set up the furnace here shortly and start drying out that sponge. I also kind of realized that I'm going to need to build stairs down so I can get to that lower chamber, but I think I kind of explore this chamber first. I don't know. You'll see what happens. And I'll talk to you again when we come across that guardian. So, enjoy. So it's at this point that I realize that the wireless mouse that I've been using um, stopped registering clicks for whatever reason. So I think just holding the button down for so long kind of overloaded it. It's not like a brand new mouse. I've had this for several years. Um, Fortunately, I do have another one that I was able to switch to. You can see I'm kind of checking the mouse here. Oh no, you're not seeing that because I'm covering up that camera. So you're not going to see my original reactions and things. But I just briefly held the mouse up and kind of checked to see if it was going to work if I turned it off and then turned it back on again. And I quickly realized that, yeah, this mouse isn't going to work. And I'm actually right here, I'm trying to see if it'll register clicks, and it is, but it's not consistent. And you can see when I go to chop this, this sponge, it doesn't stay going, and it just randomly cuts out. And so, yeah, I figured it out pretty quick. Thankfully, I had another mouse on hand that I switched to. But this was a little hiccup that we had to overcome, and that's fine. Anyway, back to the video, and I'll check back in when something else notable happens. So at this point, I'm getting ready to try and set the sponge down below when this guardian shows up. And I only know it's a guardian because the subtitles call it one. I think it's doing some kind of attack at me, but it doesn't actually hit me. And I think my first shot killed it. Because I don't see it, it doesn't bother me again after this. So that was, and it was much smaller than the Elder Guardian that I faced before. So I definitely don't think that that was the second enemy that I needed to remove to stop this mining fatigue debuff from happening. But it's also the only enemy I really encountered in how far I've explored so far, so I just wanted to make a note of it and mention that I did come across an enemy and I dealt with it. So from here till pretty much the end, it's just going to be me placing the sponge to clear out the chamber directly below here. And I kind of set it up so that there's like a column of water going up and down here, so I can use that as a way to go between levels. But I try and clear out all the water from the walkways around so that I can move freely and stay out of the water unless I'm trying to move between levels. So you'll see all that. It's very tedious, a lot of trial and error with seeing the range of what the sponge will soak up, but it's also very tedious, so I'm just gonna speed through it at this point, and we'll call it good. So at this point, I decide that I'm going to start using glass blocks to kind of block the flow, so that it's a little easier for me to figure out where I need to be blocking off water coming from, or at least controlling how much it is spilling over. I have mixed success with this endeavor, I'll say, but it's all a learning curve, you know. Lots of trial and error and just figuring out what's going to work and what's not. But at this point, I really don't go any farther than this room. I do continue to use the sponge to try and get this room cleared out so that I can move into that next room. And I'm avoiding going to the level below this. I'm kind of treating it as move down one level, explore that whole level before moving down further, just to keep my path in mind. But it is very concerning to me that I haven't seen any of the subtitles, audio cues mentioning the Elder Guardians at all, which tells me that either the soundproofing in this underwater monument is impeccable, and you have to be basically on top of them to hear them, like I was before, or this temple is huge, and it's going to take me a while to actually find them, in which case this is going to be a very long and tedious process. But anyway, like I said, I kind of finished clearing this room out, and I think I even finished clearing this room out off camera. I can't remember exactly where I stopped recording, but that's really all there is to it. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Whatever footage I have, I'll speed it up and let it finish out. But if you are enjoying the series, I know this was a little bit of a unorthodox and probably more boring episode because I'm just setting up sponges and then breaking them slowly and repeating. But if you're enjoying the series regardless, give me a like and subscribe if you want to get more, and please leave comments with your best tips on how to clear out these ocean temple monument things, because clearly I could use them. Or really just your best tips for any kind of exploration. It doesn't even have to be necessarily tailored to this exact situation. And also, like I mentioned before, please put in the comments some suggestions for names for our dogs, because we got to get that figured out. We did finish the poll for the cat name, and it looks like El Diablo was the winner. So maybe in the next episode I'll get a name tag set up and tag our cat with it. But I need some ideas for what to put in the poll for the dog name. So head on down to the comment section and let me know what you think the dog should be named. Anywho, I'm going to let this finish out, and I will catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in.